Alright, so this is kind of the only way that I can think of where, like, I can voice my opinions on the issue going on right now in 2020 with police brutality against people of color and the general, like, riots and protests and things that are going on right now. And this was the only way I could think of, like, voicing my opinion how I want to, because I've been thinking about posting something on social media, but I can't really think of, like, how exactly I want to do, like, a post or something like that that really gets out how I feel. Not that it really matters, like, how I feel about the opinion. Me being, a white female, I naturally have more privilege and am, like, less likely to be discriminated against in comparison to, a male of color, which is pretty obvious. But I just wanted to say that, like, I understand that I don't fully understand, but I fully stand with the movement that Black Lives Matter, and that this issue with police brutality against people of color is something that us as America, we really need to come together and solve. And it has really made me happy to hear that there's been protests and things of that nature going on in all 50 states, or at least I'm pretty sure at least most of the states. There's definitely been some fighting against this police brutality and things of that nature. And I definitely think this is a huge issue in America right now that really needs to be solved. Anyway, it really warms my heart to see how, like, everyone is coming together and voicing their opinions. And there was even, like, a memorial the other day where I live where they spent, like, half an hour just listing off, like, the names of people of color and then, like, giving 10 seconds of silence. And I really wish that I could have been there and attended it, but unfortunately I do not have any sources of transportation quite yet. If I could drive and had a car, I would have definitely went, though, because from what I've heard, it was extremely powerful and impactful. And I definitely think that we need more things like that in this world, where there's so many people that are full of hatred for each other. And I think we just need to come together and really work on these issues as a country. And, like, I don't mean to get too political, but I definitely don't think that Donald Trump's tweets or anything of that nature is helping with this situation. And I wish Bernie was still an option for 2020, because I definitely agree with at least most of his opinions. But, yeah. And it's really unfortunate, especially, like, with George Floyd's situation, the video that was put online, it was absolutely just horrendous how he was treated by those police officers. And I'm super happy that they're getting sentenced and things. I definitely think, though, that they should be sentenced for more than just manslaughter, because what they, or at least the man that was, like, had his knee on his neck, that just seemed so purposeful and nearly, like, premeditated. And I mean, manslaughter is a guaranteed conviction. First degree murder and second degree murder are obviously going to be harder to prove in comparison to manslaughter. So I mean, I suppose it is better to get, like, a definite sentence for manslaughter rather than just have, like, the opportunity to get sentenced for first or second degree murder, just because those ones are, like, so much harder to prove. So there is that chance that all 4 police officers could end up scot-free, And I also definitely, like, am loving, like, all the peaceful protests and everything. And I don't think, because I've seen a lot of, like, videos and words out that there's a lot of them where, like, the police officers are attacking peaceful protesters just because they're getting, like, verbally irritated and they're in, like, verbal arguments with them, which I think is absolutely awful. But then again, I also definitely, and I mean, riots wise, I do think that riots are one of the only ways that we've been able to, like, come together as a society and obtain real change, such as, like, with LGBTQ plus rights. You know, that was one of the main ways that they managed to actually create change to give them more rights. And, like, same with people of color, you know, back in the mid 1900s and things. You know, it took a lot. And I mean, riots are definitely one way to be heard, but on the other hand, I definitely, like, don't agree with that violence, and it's kind of something hard to really verbalize, because, like, at the same time, I understand that riots are one of the only ways that, like, we've been able to enact real change, like, laws-wise, but at the same time, I do not agree on, you know, taking this violence that happened to these people of color and then using that and creating even more violence where the police have to get involved and shoot people with their rubber bullets, which honestly most of the times has been completely unnecessary. Most of the times it's just been people peacefully protesting, if maybe getting, like, a little verbally irritated, and for those that have been, like, looting stores and destroying small businesses, I completely disagree with that, and I completely think it's absolutely awful that there's tons of small businesses that are being, like, put out of business because in these riots these people are looting these small family-owned businesses and stores and things, and they're completely trashing them, and, like, there's also buildings being set on fire, and there's just really quite a lot of things going on, and it's hard to say, like, how to feel, because there's so many different aspects that one can look at it, and I really don't know. And I mean, also with the people that have been at protests that are, like, attacking police vehicles on purpose or attacking, like, other people or buildings and things like that to make the protests seem violent, when in reality it's mainly just people peacefully protesting, you know, against the injustices that have occurred against these people of color. I shame on those people, honestly, shame on them for doing something like that. Like, I think that is absolutely awful to try to, like, do something at a peaceful protest like that, where everyone is just peaceful protesting, to just go and start trashing things. I definitely, like, disagree with that, and, like, trying to make the protests seem, like, awful and, like, a bad thing for society like that. I definitely disagree. But then, of course, like, these protests, they definitely do vary from state to state. Like, in the state where I live, most of them have been pretty peaceful and very, very powerful, to be honest, from what I've heard. And I think I might even watch a video of it, because I imagine there are some videos of, you know, the memorial, for example, that I was talking about. I'm really curious to watch a video about that, if there is one, just so I can sort of get an idea of how powerful it was. And I just want to let y'all know that I'm completely in with you with this, and that, like, Black Lives Matter. And I don't know how much that means coming from a white female with privilege, but, you know, I understand that I don't fully understand, and I will stand with you. I will stand with you. Well, anyway, those were kind of, like, my rambly thoughts. I don't know if they make any sense. There might be some things that sort of contradict each other, but my feelings tend to be contradictory, which is probably why I haven't posted anything yet, just because I really don't want to make anyone angry or mad, because I really don't like arguments and tension. You know, I tend to be the person that like just kind of relaxes and goes with the flow, and like if I can have a peaceful argument, then I will, and then if I can't, then I just tend to walk away, because I'm not very huge on arguing, even though I know that's like one of the only reasons or ways that one can obtain a real change is, you know, dramatic moves like that. I'm just not really that kind of person, I guess. Well, anyway, you know, I truly think that we're going to be able to obtain some kind of change from this. And I mean, of course, there will always be those people that hurt other people based off of prejudices and things like that, regardless of what we do, which is absolutely horrendous. But I really think that us coming together as a country like this will truly bring about at least some kind of change for the better. Well, anyway, adios.